Hi Jonathan, this is Professor Megan Bunnell. I got your question in the Unit 4 check-in assignment and I see that you had trouble with Part C of question 15 in the Unit 4 homework. So I decided to create a short video for you for Part C. So in Part B, you found that the rational root of the equation was 2. And you did that by using synthetic division. So I'm just going to divide the original equation again by 2 so we can find the other roots in Part C. So if we look at the original equation, I'm going to write the synthetic division template. The first coefficient is a 1. The second coefficient is a 0 because x squared is not there. Then we have -8 and then a +8. Now I'm going to divide by 2 since you already found this as an answer. So first you'll just bring down the 1 and then 2 times 1 is 2. We'll add the 2 to the 0 to get a +2. And then we'll multiply again. 2 times 2 is 4. Then a -8 plus 4 is a -4. We'll do this again. 2 times -4 is -8. And so 8 minus 8 is 0. So the resulting equation is represented by the coefficients 1, 2, and -4. To write the equation, we just take 1 less of the exponent from our original. So our original was x to the 3rd power, so now our equation, after we divided, is going to be x to the 2nd power. And these are the coefficients. So we'll have 1x squared, which is just x squared, then plus 2x minus 4. And we'll set that equal to 0. Now we're going to take this equation and solve for the other solutions in Part C. For Part C, we want to use the quadratic formula to solve this equation, x squared plus 2x minus 4 equals 0. First, you want to identify the values for A, B, and C. A is the value in front of the x squared term, which is just a 1. B is the number in front of the x term, which is 2. And then C is the constant, which will be 4. Sorry, a -4. So we're going to plug these values into the quadratic formula. We have -2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times -4 all over 2 times 1. We'll simplify the expression underneath the square root. So first we'll do 2 squared, which is 4. And then 4 times 1 times -4 is -16. So I have 4 minus -16. And that's all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Now we'll still work on simplifying the expression underneath the square root. So I have -2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus -16. So minus a negative makes it an addition problem. So those negative signs change to plus signs. So we have 4 plus 16, which is 20. And that's all over 2. Now I want to reduce or simplify the square root of 20. To do that, you're going to break 20 up into the set of prime factors. First, you want to list 2 numbers that when multiplied together give you 20. So I know that 4 times 5 is 20. You could also choose 2 times 10. You'll still get the same answer. Now I'm going to look at each one of these factors and factor those factors into prime numbers. So 4, I know that 2 times 2 is 4, and then 5 is already a prime factor, so I'll just bring that down. Now 2 is also a prime factor, so my prime factors that when multiplied together give me 20 are 2 times 2 times 5. And you can check that. 2 times 2 times 5 is 20, so I know that that's the set of prime factors. I'm going to rewrite the square root of 20 as 2 times 2 times 5. The square root tells me to take pairs of 2 of a kind, so I'll take out a pair of 2's, and when I take that out of the square root, it becomes a single 2. So now my problem is negative 2 plus or minus 2 square root 5 over 2. So as you can see, those pair of 2's went away, and I was just left with the single 5 underneath the square root. Now I'm going to simplify this answer. In order to do that, I'm going to break up this problem into 2 fractions because each term is divided by 2 here. So we can rewrite this problem as negative 2 divided by 2 plus or minus 2 square root 5 divided by 2. So that's the same problem, I just split it up so you can see that we really have 2 different fractions there. And we're going to simplify each fraction. So negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. Now I'm going to simplify 2 times square root 5 divided by 2. And in order to simplify that, you just look at the coefficients. So the coefficient on top is just a 2, and the coefficient on the bottom is just a 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1 times any number is just that number. So 1 times square root 5 is just the square root of 5. So I'm just going to write square root 5 here instead of 1 times square root 5. My answer is negative 1 plus or minus square root 5. So when I type that into my math lab, I'll just do negative 1 plus square root 5, comma, negative 1 minus square root 5, comma, 2. You want to include the 2 because that's what we found in the step above this problem. I hope this answers your question to part C. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me.